you mean?
J-Mo, yeah. All right, so next up in my list, I don't know. I've got them written down, so can we follow my list? You cool with
that? Sure. Do you have the other pre-show match on there, the Kip Sabian and Sammy Guevara?
I sure do. So Kip Sabian versus Sammy Guevara. It's going to be a fast-paced match, and I think they're going to want to show what kind of style is going to be involved in AEW. I think Guevara might be the new future of Flight, or as Jim Cornette calls it, flippy dippy stuff. So I'm going Sammy Guevara on this one. I don't know much of Kip Sabian except that he's Armenian, and my last name is Armenian. So I want him to win, but I'm going with the incredibly annoying Sammy Guevara.
Yeah, I'm going to go with Sammy G as well on that. He's, I think, like you said, he's an up-and-coming guy. He's been featured on Being the Elite a lot, so I'm going to go with Sammy G. So, I'll let you go ahead. I know you got your list over there in terms of the matches, so I'm ready whenever you are for the main card.
Okay. Next up, we have SoCal Uncensored versus the team of Strong Hearts coming over from, I believe, China or Japan. I'm sorry.
I believe it's China. The OWE, right?
Oriental Wrestling Entertainment?
Yeah.
Nice. I know Seema has been around for quite some time, and he is great. The thing is SoCal Uncensored, they got a combined age of 100, the three of them. Not saying that's a bad thing, but they could be used to put over this newer talent, and I know that the partnership that AEW has with China is very important to them. So I think we're going to see an upset here, and I think you're going to see Seema get the pin possibly on Scorpio Sky, and the Strong Hearts take it.
I agree. I think that they have this partnership with OWE, and Seema is a guy that I learned a little bit about recently and saw him again featured on Being the Elite. He's a guy that helped out the Young Bucks a lot early in their career, and I think this is a spot where they might want to establish one of these companies or federations that they're partnering with and give them a victory on their first show. So I'm also going to go with the Strong Hearts from OWE.
Sweet. Next up, we have the Best Friends, Chucky T and Trent versus Angelico and Jack Evans. I think this is going to be a sleeper match on the card. Chucky T has really kind of come into his own in the last year or so, and Angelico and Jack Evans are, if you've never seen them, you've never seen Lucha Underground, or maybe you saw Jack Evans try to kill himself and many others in Ring of Honor many years ago. They're both two legitimate tag teams, which I like, but I think if we're talking longevity, I don't know. I saw them sign Angelico and Jack Evans on Being the Elite. Again, I don't know if they're signed to AEW long term, but I know the Best Friends are, and I think this is a spot where you might see the Best Friends pick up a win here and possibly wrestle for their soon-to-be formed tag team titles down the line. So, winner for this match is Chucky T and Trent Beretta.
I think I'm going to go the other way and go with Angelico and Jack Evans. I don't know. Again, I don't know. I mean, Best Friends are probably a little bit more established in terms of in the United States. But again, I'm just kind of trying to base it off of any storyline I could see on Being the Elite, which was basically centered around Trent Beretta wanting to be in something that was not just the Casino Battle Royal. So they moved them to this tag match, and I think I'm going to go with Angelico and Jack Evans.
Okay. The other match I don't have in front of me is the 6-person women's tag match. Do you have the participants in that?
Aja Kong, Yuka Sakazaki, and Emi Sakura versus Hikaru Shida, Riho Abe, and Ryo Mizunami. Excuse me.
Okay. Cover your ears for a second. Kong kills bitches dead is what people have said for many years, whether it be Awesome Kong, Aja Kong. I'm going with Aja Kong's team. And I admittedly know nothing about any of the females in this match, and I apologize for that.
I agree with you on that. And I think that, I think a lot of people probably are not familiar with these women, but I think the point of the match, probably the purpose of it, will be to get people familiar with these women. And even though I don't know a lot about them, I'm trusting in the fact that the Young Bucks and the other executive producers have pretty good talent evaluation skills, and they brought in these women to put on a show here. So I'm going to go with Aja Kong's team as well, but I'm expecting it to be a good match.
So they're not going to make just take 2 or 3 Japanese talents, put them together, and call them like the Samurai Warriors or something like that?
No.
Are you sure? Because it seems to work on Tuesdays.
I don't know what happens on Tuesdays.
Rumor has it the Kabuki Warriors are a thing on Tuesday.
I know.
Now, next matchup. Let's go Britt Baker versus Nyla Rose versus Kylie Rae. Britt Baker kind of seems to be the face of the women's division with Brandy Rhodes, as you could see on Being the Elite. Kylie Rae is a fantastic in-ring talent, and I admittedly don't know a lot about Nyla Rose. Have you seen her work, Joe?
Just some clips. I can't say that I've seen full matches from her, but I've seen some highlights.
I know she was in, I think, Warriors of Wrestling and things like that. So I'm not too familiar with Nyla, but I think if you're looking to put the division on somebody's shoulders right now, I think Britt Baker or the better half of the Britt Baker-Adam Cole tandem is the person that should be the face of the division for right now. I know they're bringing in a lot of women's talent. Brandy Rhodes is doing a hell of a job. So I think personally in this triple threat match, I think Britt Baker takes it.
I think I agree with you in terms of Britt Baker probably being the potential face of the division going forward. If I was them, I think what I might do is, if they're going to have a women's championship, which I'm going to guess that they will at some point, maybe put it on someone or work up someone like Nyla Rose, who's kind of a monstrous, type heel, and have Britt Baker chase her for it. So I'm going to go with Nyla Rose to get the pin in this match over Kylie Rae.
I agree with that mindset. My thinking was they were going to do that with Aja Kong. So we're on the kind of the same wavelength, just 2 different ways of getting there. All right, so next up, let's see, where do we want to go? Well, let's go with Cody Rhodes versus Dustin Rhodes. To me, this match is probably going to be blood. It's probably going to be booked very similar to a late 80s, mid-80s NWA match. I would not even be surprised if the finish was 2 guys getting their shoulder down and one gets it up just as a count of 2, and the referee has to decide on the winner. That's where we're going with this match. I love the idea. I love the feel of it. There hasn't been as much after the initial announcement. I haven't seen really as much promotion for this match as some of the other matches. But I kind of think this might be a one and done for Dustin. I think Dustin might come in, put over Cody and then retire and have his moment in the sun. I don't know if they have him long term. I'm sure they want to use his professional wrestling mind backstage like they're going to do Dean Malenko, who I saw is part of the crew today as well. So my pick in this is Cody Rhodes.
Yeah, I agree with you. I'm going to go with Cody as well. I mean, most of the promotion that I've seen for this has been on the Road to Double or Nothing series more than Being the Elite. It seems to be where Cody is doing a lot of his stuff. So,
did you see MJF run up on Dustin at the gym?
It did. I did see that. Yeah,
he's still good, dude. He's still good.
Yeah, so I think, like you said, I don't think that Dustin Rhodes is going to have a lot of matches in AEW. This might be the only one, but I think that this is a match that they've wanted to do, him and his brother, for a while. I do think that he'll put Cody over here. It's going to be, like you said, more of a dramatic type old school match versus some of the high flying stuff that you'll see in some of the other matches on the card.
Similar to Cody and Aldis, right?
Yeah, I would think that's probably where they're going to go with it. So, but they've done a nice job, I think, promoting it with some videos and some promos, and I think it's going to be, an entertaining watch. And I'm going to also take Cody to get the win. Okay.
So next up is Chris Jericho versus Kenny Omega. The winner faces the winner of the Casino Battle Royal down the line for the inaugural AEW Heavyweight title. And let me tell you something, Joe. Does that stipulation give you more of a headache trying to figure out who wins this match?
Not really. I mean, I think I've always thought since they made the match that even with or without the stipulation, that it's going to be a spot where Omega will win. I mean, I have to imagine that they are going to try to put Kenny as the centerpiece of the singles division, at least at first. Putting him as their first champion would not be a bad idea. Trying to draw some attention to the product and have him put on quality matches like he was doing in New Japan for so long. So I've always thought that he was going to beat Jericho here. Jericho's probably more of a guy that should be, kind of like a special one-off type performances here and there, not wrestling every week on their television show when it starts. But I'm going to say that Kenny Omega gets the win here and will be part of the first ever AEW title match.
I agree with you as well. I just have an issue with Jericho wrestling the week after at Dominion against Okada. And it's tough for me to think Jericho loses a big match main event to Kenny and then he wrestles Okada a week later. I'm taking Omega as well, but some screw is going to happen, Joe. Listen, I'm in for it. I'm excited. I don't know. This kind of feels to me like one of the old school ECW pay-per-views where like some things are announced, some aren't. There's rumors of these big things happening and you just don't know. Like there's a sense of suspense and anticipation in this pay-per-view that I haven't gotten in a long time.
Yeah, I think that, I guess with the Jericho Okada thing is like, the AEW, from what you hear and what they say, is they're going to put a lot on wins and losses. And while, Jericho's match against Okada is not part of AEW, I'm sure that they realize that a lot of wrestling fans are crossover from those companies. And I think if you have him win against Omega and then lose against Okada like 2 weeks later, and then all of a sudden he's fighting in their world title match, it kind of doesn't look that great. So I just think he's going to lose both those matches in the next couple of weeks, but he's just probably happy to get paid and be in the spotlight. So I'm like you said, go with Kenny.
And he's also debuting the Judas effect, which is his new finishing move, which is a spinning back elbow. Yeah. Anyway, next up, main event. The Lucha Bros versus the Young Bucks for the AAA World title that the Young Bucks took from the Lucha Bros a couple of months back when they did one of their spots. This truly, to me, has match of the year potential. I honestly think the Young Bucks will be putting over the Lucha Bros so they could take the AAA World Tag Team titles back to AAA. Now to me, I think this match is going to be phenomenal. I love all four guys in the match, and it's going to be so good. It's probably going to be scary. So they have a lot to live up to. But if Tony Khan is really promising two huge surprises throughout the pay-per-view, right? And this is main eventing the show. You're going to have those two quote-unquote huge surprises, and then this is the main event. So they're putting a lot on the shoulders of the Lucha Bros and the Young Bucks to really close out the show strong and keep the crowd invested. So I'm going to be interested to see how they actually go about doing that.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, have they said that this match is definitely the main event, is going to go on last on the card?
Yeah, this was announced as the main event.
Okay. Yeah, so I don't know. I mean, maybe I don't know if they have a tag team that they're looking to debut or they're going to do something here at the end. But I agree with you as far as the winner. I think that the Lucha Bros are going to win the titles back. They probably just did that angle in Mexico so they could set up them appearing here and winning them back on this show. And I think, like you said, everyone's going to be expecting a classic match, and hopefully these guys get some more time together than the main event at All In, which I think was rushed a little bit from what you hear. So hopefully they time everything out here where these guys can have a nice, solid, long match and do some cool stuff and close out the show on a high note.
I'm looking forward to this show based on everything they've said. Based on the fact that they've said wins and losses are going to matter. Based on the fact that they didn't want to do a screw job finish in the end of the Pac Hangman match because it's a pay-per-view and pay-per-views deserve clean finishes. Not all the time. Don't get me wrong. There are some extenuating circumstances, but I have really high hopes for the show, Joe. I don't believe it or not, as much as I was looking forward to Pac versus Hangman, I don't have an issue with why he's not on the card because I can understand it. The only thing that surprises me is it took this long to figure that out. You know what I mean? I feel like you kind of know where you're going ahead of time. So unless they thought he was going to drop the Dragon Gate title, but that's the problem with back in the day when you had territories, guys could lose.